Aloha guys, JRTV on location at the Ala Moana area. Neiman Marcus here, Ala Moana Shopping Center. And I'm featuring some of the new architecture along, this is Park Lane. It's a condominium loft, modern design. I'm going to be explaining the concept of Jesus Christ, the benefits and downsides of using the theology and the concepts in your life that are presented by this. Let's refer to him as an entity. Now, as I always say, I think the concept of heaven is boring, reincarnation is exciting. You need to, in order to enjoy life, you need to have challenges and intentionally avoid and triumph over difficulties. That's life. That's not what occurs in heaven. Now, the idea of a hero or savior is good seeming at first glance. But let's look at actual parables where, in theory, if this person existed, this entity, this supernatural being, what they did and what they are going to do.
It's gonna tire them just jumping between things.
Exactly. What they should do and how it affects the human consciousness. So, if you look back, in theory, in 0 AD, and then going on to the year 33, when I believe that was the execution. If you look at all of that, you find there is a strange phenomenon that occurs where, if this person was in theory an ultimate guru or hero or teacher, why would they leave without presenting accurately their beliefs? And by writing your stuff down is only half of it. The other half is what you're actually practicing. So, what did this person practice? Were they interested in sexuality? And is sexuality a good thing? I believe it is. I think it needs to be channeled and used for creation and in support of truthful, loving relationships, yes. But did this person even use it? And did this person even, do they hate gays? And the complication with gays is that it's just more convenient to engage in intimacy. So that's where I think there's a negative image for them, that they're more promiscuous. But I think that if gays made an effort to be even less promiscuous than the average heterosexual, that they would be seen in a better light. Because what we see in every community, whatever ethnicity, the principal cause for the destruction of society is the destruction of the family unit, which obviously is a result of a misunderstanding of love, or an outright denial or disinterest in it, or in other words, a lack of believing in love. Now, what did this Jesus character say about love? Well, the idea of master and servant is not love. I remember in the book, I believe there were people similar to a quote unquote Jesus that were in that time period, that were like there are in every era and epoch, and they were trying to improve the world. But the question the question herein lies is, what did this person do, and what are they going to do if they return? Are they going to destroy gays? Are they going to... there's this concept of the bride of Christ. Does that imply that there's actually going to be a romantic connection? And is that important? To me, that's like an essential thing. And as we can see from the biblical scripts, it really seems like it's not that it's wrong for there to be a patriarchal dominance, but there's a real problem when women are seen as objects. Like, it seems like it's like the story of Solomon, multiple wives, blah blah, and it doesn't seem like it's specifically denounced. And how can a man be? There are rare circumstances I've seen in which people they have multiple partners all married together because some of them are bisexual or whatnot. That's one thing, but no, we're talking about something else. We're talking about where people are interested in just a younger or attractive woman just for the biological aspects of it, which is in effect an objectification of both women and humans in general. Now, the fact that the Bible does not address these issues, or specifically Jesus, and such things as a destruction towards gays, it's and then there's people who say that, oh no, God is love. Well, then it's open to interpretation. But if we just look at what a formal Bible explains, we can see this story, and so the bottom line is the idea for waiting for somebody to save you makes you a follower or a sheep, and that's not inherently a bad thing to be shall we call it a worker bee in society, where you have a stable job, you're contributing, and this is how people who vote more Democrat think. They like the idea of equal pay and or not equal, like more of a balanced, sharing society's burdens, and they have this kind of idea of that the rich owe them something. Rich people work really hard for the money, and the people who don't, or the people who are not financially coordinated, what do? They lose their money. This can't be more apparent in the example of lottery winners. And how does that relate to? Well, they say Jesus shook the money changers in the temple. Okay, so what were they doing? Well, they're doing kind of, to an extent, what the church does now, which is the modern Christian Day church, which is provide entertainment under the auspices of and maybe there isn't something wrong with it. Maybe it's, maybe it's not such a bad thing. I'm just trying to illustrate what's going on, provide a bit of an exaggerated opinion so as to illustrate my points, that you might be able to see some of the contrasting views that are out there from either myself or other people. And so, do I have a conclusion? Well, when people say you should believe in God or Jesus, what are they saying? Or like, he is greater than me. What they're saying is they think they either sincerely think that people will suffer unless they believe in something, and it's abstract. It's like, well, what does it mean concretely? Like, there, like I will, I will tell you that, like the five probably most quote unquote Christian practicing, like really heavy into the Bible, carrying the Bible, outwardly spoken about it. They're some of the five, most offensive people I know. They have convoluted relationships. They see the Bible fundamentally encourages dominant submission relationships, be it God and his followers, be it father and son. And if you're father and son and you're adults, that doesn't best serve you to play those roles. Okay, what best serves you is to play the roles of friends and perhaps even brothers. If you're mother and son, then sister and brother, for example. It's I talk about this more, but the point being is that got to be careful with the themes that lie therein. Like the Christians I know, they quote unquote heavily Christian. Like one of them thinks masturbation is a sin, like pornography. Like I can see why people would dislike pornography because it involves oftentimes unmarried parties. But then again, there are many instances in which we see couples, loving couples who are producing good adult entertainment, and it actually provides for a, shall we say, wholesome celebration of sexuality and an opportunity for people to vicariously experience something so that they're not actively seeking it out and pursuing premarital intimacy, which I believe leads to suffering and destruction, because it's what that is it's essentially saying that physical desires is more important than dreams. And what that's essentially saying is that drugs, sexual enjoyment is a drug. Essentially saying that drugs are stronger than your will to stay by your truth. Now, does the Bible overtly express this? Does it overtly say, well, not only physical intimacy is wrong, but does it say verbal intimacy? It alludes to these things, but it's all in an Old English sense, and it really, I don't think, explains it well. And therein lies the whole concept of, let's say, this quote-unquote Jesus entity. Like, is it a good idea to wait? Of course not. Is it like think about it for a second. If this person wanted to promote everlasting life and and on earth, eternal life on earth when Jesus comes back, well, think about it. Wouldn't we have many people working in the health and science fields, many people all contributing together trying to make something great happen, right? And so to diminish them and say that, this one person's going to come and resolve all problems, I just think it's a dishonoring and dismissing of all the good people in this world. So just to clear things up there. There's more to this, like technical details, historical details. They're presented in, if you YouTube, I'll include it in a link in the commentary, the description. It'll be Ceasars' Messiah. That's the historical facts behind what I'm alluding to. That, but the more important thing is the concepts. So how do we? There's a tower crane, new buildings coming up, right? So if this Jesus was to come and make the world eternal, or make people's lives immortal, then why wouldn't they have done it last time they arrived? 1 and 2, what that does is it makes people be like, oh, I'm not worried about trying to, you know, eat healthy or be like I'm like vegan and exercise a lot. Like, people aren't worried about that because they have this idea that there's, and that's a mistake of the human psyche, of wanting an instant solution, of saying that, oh, life is so tough that I want to escape it to heaven. You know, these instant solutions are not it's not real. So let's go into reality and embrace it and always transcend it more, but be cautious to avoid archetypes of you know, these archetypal stories of you know, hero has all the solutions, because it's misleading. Aloha, guys.